All right, so March 24th, unbelievable already. Welcome to the All Shield call. It's the normal agenda, except on the announcements from steering committee, we actually need to vote on the roster for the next term of the steering committee folks. So um, that'll be a little bit different, but otherwise we have work group updates and time for open discussion. So let's see where we end up in terms of having folks for voting. So announcements of interest to Shield HL7. Not much changes there. We are adding the NACER component, so that's cancer pathology reporting to registries, to the LRI, and it is going to be in the May 2026 ballot. And that sign up is open. So if you're an HL7 member, or if you want to ballot on the LRI NACER component, now would be a good time to sign up. Um, Otherwise, we're working on fire R6 core ballot reconciliation and reconciliation on all these other things as well. Uh, we're pretty busy. Um, Federal announcements, I guess the PAMA for laboratories, the funding portion got postponed, but the reporting requirements start May 1st this year, and we have a link to that. And I don't know, Michael, if you want to talk any more about that.
I really don't have any updates
Okay,
regarding the status of that. Yeah, I can report back though if I hear at the next call.
okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we did have a presentation on the CDC Forum for Standards Adoption last March. And Jasmine, do you know if that got recorded and if the recording is available or?
I don't know. I wasn't on the call, but I thought I saw notes come out from it.
Yeah, I mean, oh, notes came out. Okay, I'll go look
I'm
for
pretty sure
those.
I saw some notes. I can very quickly, I'll put it in the chat when I find it.
Okay, that'd be awesome. And I'll
Okay.
put them in the slides here for
Okay.
folks. But we had a pretty good discussion during that call, and it spawned a follow-up call, which I'll talk about when I give the leader work group update. Um, all right, announcements. Otherwise, Isa, do you want to do the Loink announcements?
Sorry, I was on mute. Sure.
Okay.
For long, we have the expo that's going to happen. I'm sorry, it is we have our conference, a long conference that's going to happen in Cologne, Germany, this year, and it's going to be in October 6th to 9th. We have the website open to accept abstract for submission for the conference. And so please, just submit your abstract. We'll be more than happy to receive and to take part of it. And also we have released. I did the I did the conference before, but we have released our long ontology 2.82, which is ready for download for browsing on the long snowmed.org. And we have done the long webinar also in March on the 13th, and also the content of the webinar is also available on the website.
Thank you. Anything
Thank
else
you.
from Loink you want to talk about?
No, so far, that's what we have as far as an announcement. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. SNOMED, I know Jim said he wasn't going to be able to be here, but they're having their SNOMED Expo in Sydney, October 21st through the 23rd, and I think abstracts are also open there till April 27th. That's all I know on the SNOMED front. And then the IHE North American Connectathon, the dates have been set for October 12th through the 16th in Arlington, Virginia, and pre-registration is open till March 31st. And the European Connectathon is going on this week. So that might be why we are missing some of the European friends that normally participate on this call. And yeah, here's the upcoming meeting. So Connectathon is going on right now in Brussels. And then April 16th, 12th through the 16th is the SNOMED business meeting in Vienna. It's also virtual, so you can register for that. And then the Fire Connectathon and working group meeting is the 16th through the 22nd in Rotterdam, and that's also open for registration. Any other meetings folks know about that we forgot to mention? I'm not hearing any. Any updates from recent meetings? I don't know. Did anybody go to HIMSS and want to talk about that?
I'm jumping in to tell you that the link to the recording for the Forum for Standards is in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, I
You're
can't
welcome.
copy out of that. So. I have to click. Oh no, gosh. Why is it doing this? Okay. All right. I'll
Do you want, I can also forward you
there.
the email, Ricky.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Um,
that would probably help because I had the same thing Ricky had too.
Okay.
Okay, anybody go to HIMSS, want to talk about HIMSS? Okay, doesn't sound like anybody was there, so so we need to vote for the steering committee roster. And we don't have more nominees than we have open slots. In fact, we still have some open slots even after we approve all of these folks. And I'll pull that up here in a minute. But what we're wanting to do is to just approve the full slate as it is. And folks can either abstain, approve, or vote against. So here's the full slate. We have the industry folks. We have one open spot. We have the healthcare professionals. Most everybody on this roster is second term, except Lee. So welcome. We have an open slot for a patient representative that can be filled anytime. And we have SDO and professional orgs listed here. So let's
Yeah,
see
and just
how. Yeah, go
Just a
ahead,
quick
Andrea.
update. I've been recording. Thank you for those of you who put the P, the S, the F behind your names. So under industry, I have Pam and Rob. Under health professional, I have Eric Cragnell, Leisha, myself. Professional organizations, I have Ricky and Christina from APHL, Andrea Hobby from ADLM, and Raj Dash and Rob Ray from CAP. SDOs, I only have one, which is Isa from Loink. And for the federal folks, I have Michael Smolara from CMS CLIA, Manjula Jasmine from CDC, and Stephen Powell. Is there anyone I've missed? Like Pradeep, your affiliation?
I'm with the federal agency. I'm with the federal agency,
Okay,
CDC.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Okay, well, at least we have stakeholders for every group. So, um, okay, so I guess the easiest would be to just ask is anybody again, does anybody abstain and we'll count the hands of the people abstaining. I'm not seeing any abstentions.
Yeah, and
Um,
just as a FYI, our federal folks usually don't vote, so we'll count them as abstaining when
abstain, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
count those in the vote, but anyone else who decides to abstain.
Anybody against? I'm not seeing any hands. So looks like the roster is approved as nominated. So we'll have a new steering committee, a new old steering committee.
And
Um,
thank you
yeah,
for those
thank
of
you.
you who've been serving since we've initiated this and are willing to continue serving. And for those of you who have served and for whatever reason are not continuing, we thank you for your service and contributions to
Yes,
the
most
field.
definitely. And we welcome anybody new who's just starting out with us. So we've got lots of stuff to work on. So steering committee update. Otherwise, we have a link to the minutes from the last call, and we're working on a focus document, or we maybe want to call it a Vision 2030 paper. And we're doing that by looking at the ASCP ONC Lab data interoperability report to Congress, kind of identifying some of the actions that they have identified there, if they're applicable to shield work, then we're considering them, and so we're kind of trying to come up with a group of low-hanging fruit activities, and for each of those activities we want to come up with a reasonable timeline for adoption, and kind of come up with a phase for adoption too, so that we can kind of slowly raise the bar. And one example was just, looking at having loin codes available for resultant tests, and we could say we want to, make sure we have 20% of tests available, or 20 um, uh, that are correctly loin coded, and maybe 50% the next year. We haven't really gotten to what are the right numbers here, or what are even the right measures, but we wanted to make sure that this Vision 2030 paper kind of has SMART goals in them that we can um, uh, actually measure so something, right? Um, and so part of this was considering identifying the top lab result list as a starting point, and we've already in the process of pulling that together. And then once we've identified those tests that we think are in the top 20, let's say, or top 100, whatever. We haven't identified the number explicitly. Then we want to reach out to the IVD vendors that support those tests and see if we can get Livet files for all of those. So that's kind of the work we're focusing on the 2030 paper side. And then the USCDI version 7 is out, and comments are open through April 13th, I think. But we compiled some feedback on those draft elements on the draft, and it's out for steering committee review and commenting, and we'll vote on it in our April first call. And one other thing that we, as part of the discussion around the 2030 paper, was that, there's a lot of talk about use of AI in healthcare sector. And so, maybe being able to underscore the importance of standardized lab data as a basis for teaching and using AI models could help us maybe get some more momentum into the industry, but also maybe on the federal side to get some funding mechanism going, because everybody wants to use AI, but AI also needs data to learn from. So um, anybody else got any more things they want to talk about what the steering committee been talking about? Not hearing it. So then work group updates, the IVD Data Hub working group is on hold. We need to have FDA participation for it to move forward. We also don't have a chair for it. So once FDA joins us again, maybe then we'll reinvigorate that working group. Does anybody know anything more about IVD Data Hub stuff? I'm not hearing any. Okay. Leader work group. Leader meets every week, again, Tuesdays from 9 to 10 Eastern. I have linked the minutes from today's call, which was actually really interesting. It was the continuation of the discussion we started on the CDC forum call. I have linked here to the UDI background page that we are working on. Yeah, so we're really focused right now on trying to figure out how to best represent the full UDI in HL7 for the different data flows. And we'll continue to noodle on that. The white paper's been published, and I think the next steps is to, think about where to put some articles in to highlight the importance of Leader and how it can help with lab test standardization. So I will turn it over to Eric for an update on the communications and brandings working group.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Ricky. Hi, everyone. Yeah, certainly with regards to the last slide, if there's anything we can do to help with that, happy to join one of your leader meetings, or we do have our communication and branding meetings. We have had a little bit of a gap in meetings just due to some scheduling conflicts, but we did meet last week. We are just making sure we had the final edits of the flyer and any updates on that. And I think, Ricky, you did send me what you so we'll just make sure that that's finalized. We also did set up a couple of pages. One is, we're tracking presentation opportunities that are available, and we're monitoring that more closely. But also I did set up a page, and I need to kind of connect with you, Ricky and Andrea, on just we're trying to keep a log of previous presentations that have been given by Shield. Just for a couple of reasons. One, if we're able to share like slide decks or things like that, maybe we're not in all cases, but that would be a place to get them. And also just to keep track of, so we're not, you're probably not going to, look to submit to the same conferences, 1 year, that you did previously. So it might be just keeping track so we know, where our future opportunities might be. And sometimes there might be, there's no reason you couldn't submit if we had something else to, present on. But just to kind of have that all in one place, we thought that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Especially where we can share um, the slides.
Yeah.
Yeah. And next call is April 9th. Is that correct, Eric?
Just double check on that. Let's see. Yes, April 9th at 11 a.m. 11:05.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. There. Okay, and standards and vocab working group. We are still working with the chair to find a time. So there has not been a time set for this group to meet. It's been on hold since before the holidays. So we're trying to get that out. But there are emails embedded in here. So if that's a working group that you're interested in, you can get the emails from the slide deck and reach out to those co-chairs to say, hey, when you guys decide to set up a call, please include me in it. So, and we'll make sure to send an announcement out too if we hear anything. All right.
Ricky, just one
Yeah.
correction. We actually do have a call scheduled for this Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at 11:05, 26th.
Okay. Got it. Cool. All right, we're at the open mic. Anybody got any topics, anything they want to discuss?
Ricky, I have a question.
Absolutely.
Do you mind? Is it okay if I take a few slides back to the first one regarding the USCDI?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. There, this one? You want me to pull that up?
Yeah, you were mentioning something about that the work in order to figure out the first like 20% top lab result that have LOINC. Is this something that but I want to see who is working on that, or is there any activity happening, or it is something that's
Yeah, so
okay.
so we had looked at seeing what CAP is using for their proficiency testing. And then we were also looking at the most common LOINC codes. And Dr. Vesper also had a list of codes. Andrea, do you remember more?
Yeah, so ESA as a proxy
Yes.
for what are the most commonly performed lab tests in the US, and looking at results only, I looked at the LOINC 282 list of most common lab results. And so I took that list and sent it to steering committee. And there's a couple things in there that are not applicable, like systolic and diastolic blood pressure, for example, and like manual differential method. So there's a few that were kind of edited out, but basically it's a top list that we could start with. And obviously at LOINC, it's going to include details like the units and the methods, etc.
Yes.
And Cap was asking, well, we want to cover what's in PT testing. So we're trying to match against that. because with PT testing, you have the platforms. So basically the IVD vendor products that are grouped together as peers for PT testing. And that way
Okay.
it'll kind of allow us to kind of narrow down the scope, if you will, of these potential top lab tests. Because we want to get things from like what's most commonly performed. And the LOINC is like for volume, so from
Yeah.
what you guys had taken. And thank
Mhm.
you for your empirical derivation of that set. And then Hubert also gave us the CMS listing of cost, like the most expensive reimbursement, aspects for costs from a CMS perspective. And I forgot that had been recently published. So thank you, Michael, for the CMS team. And we're kind of basically trying to hone in, like, can we figure out, like Ricky was saying, some people said like the top 10%, top 10 lab results, and start to look at, can we start to see what are the variety of like LOINCs and as Ricky was saying, maybe UDIs from a leader perspective, but that people should be focusing on making sure that they are able to capture discreetly, encode it appropriately, and exchange them. Because they're trying to figure out starting somewhere and having somewhere with like a higher impact. And if it's something, then, maybe then next year or the next period, we look at the next, set, maybe the next 100 or whatever the case might be, to get folks to kind of move the bar, move the needle as to adoption of LOINC and interoperability of these important lab results. So if that helps, and we're open to like ideas as we're just kind of brainstorming about this and trying to get some initial data. And the other thing too, which might be helpful, is if there's any federal things that come down the road, these might serve as maybe a value set to point to say, hey, for vendors, can you support all these? For laboratories, can you map all these, and et cetera, et cetera.
Wonderful. That gives me a good idea. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah.
it's clear. That's really great. Okay, so if there is something that you see it on our end, we can come up with, please, suggest or communicate with us, and that would be good if we can be on the clear on that for you.
Yeah, one thing from a LOINC perspective, as we go through this, if we identify that there's gaps where there isn't a LOINC code potentially, then we also said, those should be requested from Registry so they're available for everybody, so we can fill those gaps. And similarly, for if we look at result values and things like that from SNOMED, just to, as we've talked about previously, to make sure that we can start to fill these gaps and make sure that, this data can be exchanged interoperability.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and since they are USCDI related, they will be priority on the long list to fill this gap. So we'll attend to them as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yeah,
That
awesome.
answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I took some notes. I'll add the detail in here so everybody
Yeah,
has
that
it
will
in
be
the slides as well. Any other topics, questions? I mean, I did pull up the USCDI draft feedback, so just this is the Open Confluence page. Anybody should be able to get to it. The link is in the slides. But so this is what the steering committee is looking at, the overarching comments, and then comments on specific data elements explicitly. So that we'll submit so that the comment is visible. So one of the things we decided from the steering committee perspective is to include a rationale in the comment as to why we support the inclusion, for example, for performance time, and why we make the suggestions we make, so that other folks that look at performance time, at the element performance time, can see that comment over time, and it's available for folks to understand the rationale behind it. So just thought I'd throw that out, let you guys see that. But anybody can look at it here, and it's an open page. Any other topics? If not, then we're on our last slide. So we've got next call is April 28th and then May 26th, where we might want to think about this one. I don't know, it's the day after Memorial Day. Do we need to rejigger that one? We can decide in April, but keep that in your mind. And then the special topic calls, we currently don't have anything for the April call, so most likely we'll cancel that, but the steering committee might reuse that time slot to finalize any last minutes, because I think April 15th is the deadline. So, and then May 12th, we'll get some link updates from Isa and company. So I'm looking forward to that. If anybody has any other special topics, please let us know. We don't have any other topics planned so far, so it's a wide open field. If there is nothing else, I'll give you guys a couple minutes back, and thank you very much for attending, and we'll talk again sooner or later. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.